He's there, even if nobody knows there.
Hi Eliza, and welcome to Camden Town Radio.
Hello, how are you?
We're good, thank you. It's great to speak to you. Thanks for joining us, and you're back in the UK now.
Yes, we got back. We were in Manchester last night and now we're in Brighton today.
Yeah, so you did your first UK show of this tour last night. So how did that go?
It was great. It's so funny coming back to the UK after Europe because the crowd, especially in Manchester, I think Manchester's famous for it really, but it's a party crowd. It's such a good energy.
Yes, and it's on to Brighton this evening.
Yes, Brighton tonight. We're here by the sea.
Yes. All right, so you're there now?
Yeah, we're here now. I'm actually in Maya's flat. My manager, she's living here at the moment.
Oh, okay, right. So have you been out onto the seafront yet this afternoon? Or?
Not yet. I had some things to do, so we've just been posted up in her flat, but I might take a walk later because it's rare. Even though we live on an island, I don't get to the ocean very much.
Right, yes. So you're living on an island these days, are you?
Oh, England.
Right, okay. I thought you were talking about a tropical island somewhere. Yes. So I believe you are a London girl, is that right?
I'm actually a Camden girl.
Oh, right, okay. Was that where you were born?
Yeah, I was born in Camden, yeah. I'm living in Primrose Hill at the moment.
Right.
So not far.
Yeah, so you know Camden Town very well, and I believe you have performed at Koko before.
Yeah, I performed at an NME night there years ago.
Yes.
I think that was the last time I was there.
Your original name, Eliza Doolittle, it came from the musical...
Pygmalion and My Fair Lady.
Yes. Was your personality a little bit like that? I mean, obviously you're a London girl as well. I mean, did that name come about?
Yeah. I mean, my mum always used to say it's more to do with her and my dad's relationship, because my dad's like quite well spoken, kind of almost not quite Henry Higgins,
right.
But like he's from theatre background and like quite quite like a lovey kind of.
Oh, okay. Yes.
And then my mum's from the East End, and it's kind of like maybe a little bit to do with their relationship and how they sort of influence each other.
I see.
And I don't know, maybe it's to do with that. Also, my dad was reading a book that had a character called Eliza in it, so when I was born, so I think maybe they called me Eliza after that character as well.
As you mentioned there, you're from quite a musical and artistic family.
I am, yeah.
You were almost born on the stage by the sound of it. Your father was very much involved in the theatre, and your mother was an actress, is that right?
Yeah, so I was actually in her tummy when she was on stage.
Right, so you almost were.
I was literally born into the world on the stage.
Yes.
I think that's probably where I caught the addiction for it.
You can say you were on stage before you were born even.
Exactly, yeah.
Yes, so I guess, I know some artists we interview don't have a musical background, but you very much do, so I guess it was kind of natural that you went into music or theatre. I mean, did you think of going into theatre rather than music, or?
I did a bit of theatre as a kid,
yes.
But I always knew it wasn't for me. Like, I felt the repetitivity of a theatre show was, I don't know, I just found it a bit boring.
Okay, yes.
After a while.
Yes.
I like the idea of like the spontaneity of a live show and the crowd being interactive with it, and that's something that was more appealing to me, I think, from a young age.
Yes, that makes sense. I mean, I guess with music, every show's different, really.
Yeah.
Yes, particularly going around different venues, I guess that's more interesting, whereas a show tends to be a run, to West End Theatre. It can be many weeks in the same. Now, you actually, I guess, when you made your breakthrough in 2010, I guess it all happened quite quickly, really, because your original album ended up going platinum, so it must have been quite a roller coaster at that time, was it?
Yeah, it was. It was definitely, like, when I look back on it, I'm like, it was a whirlwind of so much going on.
Yes.
Lots of travelling, lots of touring, lots of writing. I learnt a lot. I definitely learnt my craft at that time.
Yes.
And I think fell in love with it even more. But it was also very, like, I don't know, I didn't get to experiment and go deeper into what I wanted to do musically at that time, because I think because of the sort of, you know, I would call it apparent success, because I think I feel more successful now with the music I'm making now because of the connection I have with it.
Yes.
Whereas there, I'm like running around doing sessions, like working with so many producers and doing it maybe in a more major label style.
Yes.
And I think I had less connectivity with myself and with what I wanted to do from an artistic point of view.
Yes, that makes sense.
But at the same time, it was such a fun experience,
yes.
and I learned a lot. So I'm kind of like, it's been cool to go on that journey and sort of find my feet and find what I want to do now. Yes,
that makes sense. Yes, it was good early experience, and I believe before that you kind of learnt your trade within London, I guess, did you, doing shows in and around Camden and places like that?
Yeah, lots of shows in Camden, lots of shows in Soho.
All right.
There were music venues everywhere back then, I guess, like we did all over London, really.
What sort of places in Camden? Are there any still there today, such as the Dublin Castle and places like that?
Yeah, I did Dublin Castle, I did Lock Tavern.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
right, yeah.
I think I probably played in most of the little music venues in Camden over the years.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's nice to be coming back to Camden again this week to perform. And I guess, would you say that now with your new music, you're more in control creatively?
Yeah, I think I always I had control before. I was writing all the music, but it was more that there was suggestions of different producers and some amazing producers. Actually, I really am grateful to have worked with them.
Yes.
The people I work with and really lovely people. I think it was more a sense of like what the label wanted rather than what I might have, the path I would have gone had I just followed my own inner guidance.
Yes.
And it's just now it's more of a case of like just following my own gut and no one else's when it comes to the music, and working with people that I feel drawn to myself. And it's just a slightly different thing. It's less of a team thing and more of a me thing.
Yes.
That becomes a team thing through my own choices.
That makes sense, yes. And the new album, has it just come out this year, is that right?
It came out at the end of last year.
Ah, yes.
It's called Sky Without Stars.
Yes. And you've just had a new single has come out, I think this month, has it? Or, well, last month now, it's just March today, but...
Actually, it just came out like this week or last week.
Yes.
It's called Midnight Rose.
Yes, that's your latest single from the album. Now, in terms of the album, was it... I mean, because you had a bit of a gap between your second album and this album. So for this album, is it something that's come about in sort of the last year or so, or has it been, is it been the creative process been going for a while? Or?
So we were working on it before the lockdown happened.
Okay.
And actually the lockdown was kind of a blessing for us.
Yes.
Because it just took away all the distractions of the world and we got to just zone in and finish it. It took us like a little while to find the right partner for the album release-wise, so that took a while because of COVID as well. Things were moving slower.
Yes.
So it did take a little while for it to come out, even though it was finished. But yeah, it was like maybe 3 or 4 years between albums, which I don't like doing. Obviously, I would rather work faster than that.
Yes.
But it's made me realise I want to work a lot faster in the future.
Yes.
Sure. But I'm quite considered with what I do, especially when it comes to an album. So I just want it to be really, really good. Yes,
that makes sense. So for you, lockdown was actually a good chance to focus on writing the album, whereas other artists were a bit frustrated because they couldn't tour. But for yourself, it sounds like good timing because that was when you were starting.
Yeah, it was quite good timing in that respect.
Yes.
And also really the nice time to really go inwards and self-reflect and think about I don't know, things that were wrong that I saw in the world and my feelings towards that. That's what I'm always wanting to put in the music, and I think that was a time for everyone to really reflect and it was so important to slow down. It makes me realise with every album I'd quite like to make my own version of Lockdown. Really.
Yes. So the new album, I mean, are the songs very much about your experiences, or?
Yeah, I mean, I guess everyone who is making music or art is coming from their perspective of the world. Some of it is personal experience, but some of it's like my thoughts on what's going on a larger scale.
Yes.
And there's a lot of like self-protection in it, and maybe a bit of rebellion as well, a bit of confrontation. A lot of love goes through everything I'm writing, and a lot of femininity and a lot of power to the feminine. The album's just threaded with all of those themes and more.
Yes, that sounds great. It sounds like it's an album that people can draw quite a few things from.
I hope so, yeah.
Yes, just remind us of the name again.
A Sky Without Stars.
Well, we must ask you about that title and where that came about, or how that came about.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously, like I said, like when I'm thinking about the things that are wrong with the world and my thoughts about those things, it's like throughout the music and how they could be changed, or how we could put together, or how I can do what I, even just on my own, what I can maybe do to help.
Yes.
And one of the things that I kept thinking about at that time was the fact that if you grow up in the city, you never see the stars. I just wondered why we've done that to ourselves. I kind of think it's a form of self-destruction, and I just really would love to. I wanted to just put a light on that, really.
Yes.
Just using in the title. There isn't a song that specifically, mentions that, but I just thought it was quite a good example of like where we're going wrong.
Yes.
I wish we could change it. I think it would be beautiful if we could see the stars from the city.
You're right.
Kind of have more of a connection with the universe and our dance within it.
Yes, you're right. It can be frustrating when, certainly if they announce on the news there's going to be a solar event, and if you're in a city, then it's quite difficult to be able to see that. Although sometimes,
it's so sad, isn't it?
Yeah, sometimes walking home. I mean, the other night I was walking home through London and I could see the stars. So occasionally it does, but it has to be a very clear night, I think, to see the stars certainly in London.
You might get one or two.
That's right. Yes, should be better somewhere like you are now in Brighton. That's certainly better for night skies.
Maybe
I think.
have a little look out the window, although it looks quite cloudy now.
Yes.
I mean, that's the other thing. Growing up in England, is we've always got a sky without stars, a cloudy sky.
In terms of the people that you worked with on the album, were they new collaborators, or are they people that you'd worked with before?
So it's Finley Robson. He's like my music partner.
Yes.
And we've worked on everything the last couple of albums together.
Okay. Yeah.
And we've just got great chemistry, and we're just very good friends, and we do it all together.
Yes. And would you say the latest album, has it taken you in a little bit of a different direction, or how would you describe the overall feel of the album?
Yeah, I hope so. I hope everything that I do, every project has like a fresh new direction that hopefully represents the times.
Yeah.
I think it's a bit, from the last album, I'd say it's a bit more confrontational, a bit more missionary, and wanting to actually like take part in positive changes.
Yes.
Even just through lyrics and through talking, conversation, through the music, through the feeling, as well as obviously real life and how I live in my real life. But I think it's something that I was probably a bit more. The previous album, A Real Romantic, was a bit more of an escapist album.
Yes.
Whereas this one's definitely trying to like look at myself, look at what I can do better, to bring more joy in the world and more beauty and happiness and peace.
As we mentioned earlier, you've been in Manchester last night and you're in Brighton tonight, and the Koko show is coming up tomorrow night, and it's a sold out show, so you must be really looking forward to that one.
Yeah, man, I can't wait. It's my hometown.
Yes.
I've never done my own show at Koko. So
I'm
really excited to, finally do that.
Yes. I see the previous one was sort of a mixture of artists on the same evening.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, it was
yes.
like a collection.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I'm trying to remember. Maybe I have played it other than that, but I can't. I definitely haven't done my own headline show. So.
Okay. Looking in terms of your family members, we mentioned your father there and your mother, but I believe another stage connection is you're actually, have I got this right? You're the granddaughter of Sylvia Young. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. That's certainly an interesting stage connection. We've had artists on the show who have been to the Sylvia Young stage school, but I'm not sure we've had any relations. So that's that's even different.
Well, I actually wasn't allowed to go to the school.
Oh, okay, yes,
because my mum was it was started when my mum was like a teenager.
Yes.
And she got expelled from the school.
Oh, did she?
By her own mum. Yeah, because she was naughty. So I don't know whether they were worried about that with me or whether, because I wasn't that naughty or anything as a kid, but they, I think they just, because I grew up in just stage theatre heavy family, I think they wanted to give me the opportunity to just be an academic student or something other than that. So I just went to a normal school, and I ended up heading in that the stage theatre direction anyway. So
did you sort of? It says you grew up here, sort of around Highgate. Was that where you were at school?
Oh, my dad lived there, and so I grew up mixture of Camden and Highgate.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. It's great to have someone from Camden Town on the show, certainly. Can you? I mean, you mentioned there your mother is from the East End. I mean, could you quite easily go into an East End accent? Is it something that? Can you give us some phrases from?
I think when I'm drunk, I get a bit more East Endery. I feel like I sort of swing. I think I'm like, it depends. I'm sort of. I feel like I'm quite well spoken, maybe.
Yes.
I don't know. What do you think?
Well, yes, you certainly sound.
I try to be anyway. I try to speak well.
Yes, I'm trying to think of a phrase. We did have somebody on recently who was interested in EastEnders, and we got them to say some EastEnder phrases. So I'm thinking if we could, let's see if we can get a. What about?
You've been busy, ain't you, darling?
Oh, that's good. I like that. Yes. Yeah, I think you could certainly play an East End character. I think on the.
Well, there you go. Maybe they'll call me tomorrow.
Yes.
Offer me a role.
Does it still interest you, the stage? I mean, obviously you're mostly focused on music, but is the stage equally of interest, or you kind of thinking, no, I'm very much focused on music?
I like the idea of writing music for a stage production of some kind, like I don't know if it would be like a traditional musical music.
Right.
Kind of. I don't know if music would be traditionally musical music.
Okay, yeah.
But I like the idea of writing something for stage. But I don't think I would perform in it every night. Like I said, I think I'd find it a bit repetitive. But, but yeah, I like the idea of being part of a big production. That was something that really blew my mind, especially at the age of 8. I just loved being part of this massive production, all the cast, and everyone was so, it was like a big family, and then there's just so many roles, such a, the set, the lighting, like everything's so well put together, and I find it really beautiful, and I'd love to be a part of something like that.
Oh, right, that's interesting, yes, because there's lots of things, other than being on the stage itself, there is. And sometimes the audience don't see everything that goes into a production because, they're mainly looking at the stage. But, as you say, there's so much behind the scenes that goes on in putting together. So, that's very interesting. I'm sure your fans will be interested to know that you have the interest in the production as a whole. And, maybe they can expect you writing a musical or something like that.
I hope so. I hope to.
Now, something else interesting that we've read about that you did. I mean, it ties in because sadly he passed away recently, Burt Bacharach. I believe you did get to perform with him on. Yes.
I loved working with him. I'm a massive fan.
Yes.
I really loved his songs, and I listened to them a lot growing up.
Yes.
So So when I got asked to sing with him, I jumped at the chance. I just think he's an absolute legend.
Did you get to do a song with him on stage?
Yeah, we sang a couple of songs together, and actually he kind of put me on the spot and just gave me the lyrics to another song, and I was like, sing this one too. And I didn't know how it went, but I had a go at it anyway.
Yes.
It was good, playful energy. It was fun.
After these set of UK shows, have you got plans for more shows soon, or?
There's nothing in the diary apart from Houghton Festival, which I'm playing in the summer.
Okay, yes.
But I'm actually in more of a writing mode after this.
Right.
I'm going to just get my head down and just write and write and write. I just want to write a lot of music this year.
Yes. With the writing process, is it something that you find comes naturally? Because I know some artists go specifically into a studio to do a writing session, but for yourself, is it something that you tend to find, you'll do a creative burst of writing, or how does the songwriting process work for yourself?
I mean, it's always like, it doesn't always come every day, but I do some sort of writing every day, even if it's just writing in my book.
Okay. Yeah.
Just to keep the flow going, and I love it. It's what I love to do. So sometimes it can turn out crap.
Yes.
Sometimes it turns out great, and that's the best feeling in the world.
Yes. Now, outside of music, do you have anything that you like to do in downtime when you're not touring or performing?
Football.
Oh, okay.
I'm an Arsenal fan.
Ah, okay. Are you a regular at games, or?
Yeah, I've got a season ticket.
Right, okay. I believe they're playing tonight, aren't they?
They are. I'm missing it.
Oh.
I've given my tickets away this week.
Oh.
But yeah, I'll be probably looking at my phone before and after the show to check the score.
Have you been a football fan all your life then?
Yeah, I like my older brothers and sister. They grew up near the stadium, so
okay.
They just made us be Arsenal fans from a young age. But then I didn't really watch it until I was like maybe about 12 or 13, and then I just got hooked around that time.
Yeah. And what about playing sports yourself? Do you active in sort of playing tennis or anything like that, or football?
Only in the summer I'll kick a ball around, but I'm not like playing five-side or anything.
All right.
So we've got that single that just come out last week, Midnight Rose.
Yes.
It's actually not on the album. It's
okay.
It was an extra song that we didn't finish in time for the album, but I just didn't want to let it slip.
Yes.
And I was worried it would just get lost among some of the other music that I've never released that I probably should have, and so we decided to put it out, and there's more almost lost music to come.
Oh, right.
As well.
Oh, perhaps you can do another CD with bonus tracks and B-sides and things like that. Perhaps that would be.
We're doing something. You'll see.
Yes, we'll look forward to. Yes, it sounds like there's plenty of new music in the pipeline there. So.
Yeah, lots of new music coming.
Yeah, we'll certainly look forward to that. Thanks very much, Eliza, for joining us today. It's been great to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me.
We wish you the best with this latest album and also the upcoming show at Koko tomorrow night.
Yes, Camden forever! Hi, this is Eliza, and you're listening to Camden Town Radio. Keep rocking and rolling.
He's there.